Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So have we found an answer for this Tether problem that a lot of people are talking about? It could be considered the biggest threat to Bitcoin and crypto, right? And we may have a solution. In fact, one that has been around for quite some time. And that is the second biggest stablecoin, USDC. So let's talk about why USDC could solve our Tether problem and how it could just make it all go away. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, CryptosRUs.com. All right, guys, let's do this. Welcome. Let's address this. Let's address this tonight. I thought it'd be a pretty good topic to talk about. Well, first of all, Bitcoin is still 33,300, so about $200 less than this morning. But it's down a little bit since yesterday. But overall, still going sideways. Still kind of boring. I know that, but like I've been saying, billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars is waiting to enter the market. This morning, we got a huge endorsement from Germany. About $350 billion from funds is now waiting to come into the market. Besides that, we have a lot of big other hedge fund guys and about 24 million customers in the US that could legally buy Bitcoin at their bank. I mean, there's a lot. There's just a lot of things to look forward to. So even though Bitcoin could be where it is right now, really, you just have to have some patience because all that money, once it starts flowing in, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious and something that you don't want to miss out on because remember, you're investing for your future. You're not investing for short-term gains. You're investing for your future, for future gains, life-changing wealth, right? But tonight, I do want to talk about Tether. A lot of people have been talking about Tether, and the Tether story has been ongoing since 2017. There was always controversy around USDT, and it's just been rehashed again. Because this notion that USDT is not fully backed, it was created by Bitfinex really to cover their own ass because they misplaced funds, about $850 million. Actually, it goes beyond that. Bitfinex was actually hacked before. So they had to come out with some kind of token to kind of make up for the lost funds. And then later on, they came out with Tether. And some people credit Tether being the reason why 2017, why Ethereum and Bitcoin pumped. But there was always controversy around it, whether or not it's fully backed, right? Whether or not this is artificial. But since then, it has grown and grown and grown and grown. And now it's sitting at $62 billion. And here's the thing. Even the U.S. Attorney General's office, well, New York's Attorney General office, also sued Bitfinex and Tether because they were concerned about the shenanigans. Because Bitfinex needed to borrow $850 million because $850 million was suspended by some offshore bank. So they got an interest-free loan from Tether. And then they repaid it. But, they were sued anyways. They settled. And the case is over, except Tether still has to submit audit reports every quarter to the state of New York. Now, there's been a lot of people that's been talking about Tether once again, right? Whether or not it's really fully backed. And this is what they're looking at because the last audit from Tether, shows that enormous amounts, 65% of their reserves, which it should be 1-to-1, meaning one USDT to $1, is not actually in dollars. It's mostly in commercial paper, 65%. And people are wondering, what kind of commercial paper? Commercial paper is basically bonds issued by companies, which could be good, but also could be bad because we just don't know, right? And I've downplayed this before because I'm thinking after 2 years of being sued by the New York Attorney General's office, 2 years, I don't think they're idiots. New York is the strictest state when it comes to crypto laws. That is why most exchanges cannot operate in New York. That is how strict they are. So that's why I was less concerned about that, because I'm thinking the commercial paper and fiduciary deposits and repo notes and treasury bills, everything was actually accounted for and verified and deemed okay. Now, that could be a false assumption, but a lot of people keep bringing this up. You know, commercial paper and how this whole thing could collapse, and if Tether collapses, it's going to collapse the entire market, right? Still a lot of fears around that. I still think that it's a little bit overblown, but I get the concern. And here's the thing. Tether is $62 billion, yes, but $62 billion out of $1.4 trillion, okay? So it's a small amount, although I do recognize that $1.4 trillion is also, is not the actual number of dollars in the market. So I also recognize that. Anyways, this leads me to the solution, and that is USDC. Now, why is USDC the solution? Well, if you just scroll down a little bit, USDC has been climbing higher and higher and higher and higher as more and more exchanges and projects onboard USDT, or USDC rather than USDT. And there's a lot of prominent projects. People ask me about Stellar onboarded USDC, right? And there's other projects that's also onboarding USDC because, quite frankly, I think they're a little fearful of USDT, right? So that is what's going on right now. USDC is increasing while USDT is slowing down. In fact, if you look at this, I had this up. Is it this? No, this, no. Maybe I closed it. All right, I just reopened this again. In fact, if you look at this, the dominance of USDT, which is Tether, is decreasing. And at this rate, they will drop below 50% in the near future. As USDC, which is this light green, its market share grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that continues to be a trend. Then USDT just simply dies out and no one uses it anymore, right? So this could just be a solution that exchanges and people and projects simply stop using USDT in favor of USDC. Now, here's the thing. Is USDC really that better, right? What makes USDC, a stablecoin from Circle and Coinbase, better than Tether? Well, that's the million-dollar question. First of all, USDC was created by Circle and also Coinbase. It's a joint collaboration, and both of these companies are in the US. Okay, so number one, there's a lot of credibility there, especially someone like Coinbase, who is heavily looked at, heavily regulated by every single regulator out there. Obviously, being one of the biggest or the biggest exchange in the United States for crypto, there's a lot of scrutiny and a lot of eyes, and they just went public too. So this is a joint venture between Circle, which is also another exchange. Well, they used to be exchange or payment service. And now, they collaborate and came out USDC. So there's a lot more trust there right off the bat versus USDT, which is overseas, created by Bitfinex. And Bitfinex has always had a rocky history of hacks and misplacing funds and this and that, right? So a lot different just from its origins. Also, what's different is USDC, I'm sorry, mixing things up. USDC is also audited by Grant Thornton every single month. Grant Thornton is one of the biggest firms out there when it comes to accounting and payroll and hiring and tax services. So Grant Thornton, again, another giant company. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar auditing company that is auditing USDC's reserve every single month. You can see it goes all the way back to 2018. And they post this. And within the accounting report, like this one, it shows as of the reporting date and time, the US dollars held in the custody accounts are at least equal to or greater than the USDC tokens outstanding. So for Circle, it is backed 1-to-1, meaning 1 USDC to 1 US dollar, not commercial paper or deposits or repo notes or treasury bills. It is backed 1-to-1 with USD. Okay, so that's a big difference. It's backed 1-to-1. It's audited by a firm that we can trust. Someone is a multi-billion-dollar firm that does this thing, and it's in the US and it's backed by Coinbase. So there's just a lot more trust. And this is the reason why exchanges and projects are onboarding USDC a lot more to get themselves away from USDT, right? So this is very, very positive. And this could be a solution because as USDC's market share increases and USDT's decrease, it may get to one point where people just drop USDT altogether and that's it. And there's no more, right? So I think this is pretty interesting. This is one of those things that you don't think as a solution, but this is where like the open market is solving a problem. Rather than have more regulations, right? More scrutiny from the regulators. This is a case where common smarts or just the open market is determining what's more trustworthy, what's a better solution, and they're just gravitating towards a better solution without more, hand holding or eyes watching. Pretty interesting. So we'll see as USDT continues to die and USDC continues to blossom. All right, so that's the main thing I want to talk about. Something else I want to talk about that is, I guess, eye-opening, but not really. Someone sent me this article, and this talks about, oh, no, this is not the one. Talks about this guy right here. And who is this guy? Well, he's Brad Sherman, and someone that has been very, very critical of cryptocurrencies. Here's the thing, though. All right, well, before I go on, to quote, cryptocurrency is something that you can bet on, but people want to have that. Wait, you can bet on, but if people want to have the animal spirit to take risks, I prefer them to invest in equity markets to support the building of American companies or the California lottery or to support a school system in my state. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile. So if one person makes $1 million and 9 lose $100,000, Coinbase makes money. The millionaire goes on TV and says how wonderful it is, and 9 others do not retire in dignity. It's funny that he says that, yet he's trying to promote people to buy lottery tickets. Kind of interesting there. Cryptocurrencies have the political support of the patriotic anarchists who are rooting for tax evasion. I hope we shut it down. So he actually started pretty good. Then he just turned 180 and said that it's just really for people that want to evade tax and we need to shut it down. But here's the interesting thing. Who are the biggest donors? Who are the biggest donors to Mr. Sherman? Well, if you look at it, this article breaks it down. You look at it's all financial companies and banks. So it kind of makes sense that he's saying what he's saying. It's because he has to protect them, right? Protect them. And look at BlackRock, Blackstone, right? BlackRock, a lot of controversy recently about ESG, one of the biggest Tesla holders out there, right? So they've been causing a lot of ESG fears recently and everything else in here. So it kind of shows you, again, some of these congressmen, people that are saying negative things about Bitcoin. You could even throw Peter Schiff in there. Why do you think Peter Schiff talks so badly about Bitcoin? Well, number one, he's gaining a lot of recognition. Number two is because he actually owns a bank. And number three, he has a gold business. Okay, so a lot of these guys that say negative things, they have to protect their bottom line, right? And in this case, his donors. But in other cases like Peter Schiff's, it's probably all the gold bugs that are depending on him to continue to fight against Bitcoin, right? So again, it's one of just there's just a lot of FUD out there. And my point is this: there's a lot of FUD out there. You can't believe them all, right? You got to do your own homework, make your own assessment, and just pay attention to what's really happening behind the scenes. Don't do what they say. Do what they're actually doing. And most of these guys are buying and accumulating behind the scenes while saying negative things about Bitcoin. All right, what else is there? Wait, before I go on, let me make sure I don't miss any super chats or before they disappear. What do you think about StormX NBA sponsor? Someone mentioned about that. I guess it's a good thing. FTX already been getting involved with the NBA, and who else did they get involved? Well, of course, with Tom Brady and so forth. It's fine. I don't know if it's going to do anything for StormX. Marcus asks, I have 11 coins in order, most to least. Is that too many? No. You could have, just this morning, you could have 30 or 40 or 50 coins. As long as you could keep track of them, that's all that matters. There's no set right or wrong number of coins you should hold. Lastly is this. The Bitcoin Mining Council survey estimates that all the miners already utilize 56% of sustainable green energy. So it's already there. You know, there's been a lot of talks about how, energy, is all dirty energy from Bitcoin mining, all coal power plants from China, and how the whole thing is just using more energy than, countries. There's just a lot of FUD, right, around Bitcoin mining. But according to Bitcoin Mining Council, who has done some significant research, it's already 56%. And plus, right now we know there's a mass exodus of miners out of China, right? That also helps the case. So, yeah, Bitcoin mining isn't nearly as bad as people say it is. And also, let's not forget, there are many things that take more electricity than countries in the world. For example, Christmas lights during Christmas. Yes, washers and dryers in the US. The energy uses of them take more electricity than whole countries. There's a lot of examples of common day items for us in the US or other first world countries that consume so much energy. It's more than some countries, right? So again, you can't fall for the FUD. Can't fall for the FUD. All right, what else is there? MCW is saying, dude, you're lucky to have this many viewers. Are you saying that in a bad way or are you saying in a good way? It sounds like you're saying it in a bad way. Lastly, a lot of you guys mentioned about BlockFi, right? They changed the rates. Yes, they did change the rates, but they also did add 3 new tokens. So they still have BTC, ETH, Litecoin, Link. They have USDC, which I just mentioned, GUSD, which is a stablecoin from Gemini. They have PAX, which is another one. They do unfortunately have USDT, and BUSD, but their brand new one they added is DAI, and that is the top one they offer at 8.5%. They also added Uniswap and BAT. So these are the latest rates. BlockFi according to them, why they had to decrease some rates is because the market is just not there. People that are borrowing, the interest have died down a little bit, which is why they have to adjust. But you know what? When things turn around, right? When the market gets hot again, it always comes in cycles. Then, of course, the rates will increase again because the institutions that want to borrow increases, and it's just an ever-changing thing. So just want to clarify that for you guys. Overall, CMC is slightly down from yesterday. BTC down is still 45%, hasn't climbed up to 46%. And my portfolio from this morning has dropped a couple hundred more, so now it's down to 5,400. Started with 5,000. Actually, it's 5,100 because I put in 100 DCA. Still up a little bit, but next week, dollar cost average again, and then week after that, dollar cost average, and just keep going, and see where it ends up. All right, that's it. Let's do some Q&A. I'm scrolling back through the comments. I can't mention a lot of these, but they're really funny. They're really, really funny. All right. What else is there? There's actually no questions, just a lot of comments. A lot of comments. All right, here. Jordan asks, hey, George, BlockFi now supporting DAI. What would you be most comfortable keeping your stablecoins in and why? USDT, C, BUSD, DAI, or no difference? There is a difference. I just got done talking about USDC and USDT. There is a big difference between the two. BUSDT is from Binance. DAI is from MakerDAO. It's a algorithmic stable coin. So, I mean, out of the four you mentioned, I still think USDC, in my opinion, is the least riskiest. The other ones, I think they have less risk, but still, there's more risk than USDC. I have not done research in the Binance BUSD. I have to see how it's backed, whether or not it's really one-to-one. Alessandra says, George, I think USDT is way worse than you think. Well, here's the thing. Let's just assume, hypothetically, you're right. It is worse than it is. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you just go quit crypto because of it? Or are you going to stay in and stay strong, right? So ultimately, I like to look at the bigger picture. I do think that it will come to a conclusion one way or another. It could be done because the open market dictates, which is looking like what's happening right now, which is why USDT dominance is decreasing and USDC dominance is increasing. Or there could be more regulations that could put a stop to it, or it goes belly up, which I'll admit probably will tank the market short term. But it's relatively small and the overall market will recover. So that's the thing. It's like you have to look at, so even if you make the worst assumption, right? What are you going to do about it? Are you so scared that you're just going to leave the market, right? Because if you look at equities, you look at anything else, there's a big risk there too. Fractional banking does not have no risk. There's big risks. Same thing with equities. There's a lot of big risks based on banks and the endless printing that has been happening and the bonds that they're buying and everything else that's going on, right? So there's always a risk. So I guess you have to just decide whether or not you want to stay in or you want to get out. Gal asks, are we seeing market manipulation right now? I believe so. I think right now the big boys are still trying to accumulate. So overall, they're suppressing the price one way or another, utilizing a number of methods. But ultimately, the name of the game is to accumulate. So I think there is a lot of manipulation, but it's mostly because they want more of it. Not because they just do it for fun, because they want more of it. So that's the important thing to remember. Michael asks, are you worried about government stifling crypto development, making it much harder for new investors? Yes and no. This is something that Michael Saylor brought up this morning. But I do think there is a lot of people in the government and congressmen. They could be bag holders, so they don't want that. But there's also some that really wants change. Some that really do hate traditional banks and what they're doing to the little guys or common folks, right? There are some that truly want change. And it's really hard to stop technology. Technology advancement is very, very fast. Look at how fast mobile wave developed, right? Look at how fast the internet developed. So crypto is the same thing. It's a technology. It's really hard to just shut down. I think it's go bloom like everything else. It's just that you'd have to give them a little bit more time. Scrolling up here, making sure I don't miss anything. It seems like I missed a lot. All right, moving down. What else? What is your favorite wrap token? I don't like any wrap token because I don't use any of them. Where can I find Xbox Series X in Canada? You can't. You can't find Xbox X anywhere. Any thoughts on the Sunday swap team? I'm considering participating in ISO. I haven't looked at Sunday swap's team. I know they're a very hyped up. Oh, they're not even on, I guess. Yeah. I know Sunday Swap is a very hyped up AMM that's coming out on Cardano, but I have not looked at the team. But it could be worth it because they're one of the big ones, or supposed to be one of the big ones. If you had to choose B Pro or Telcoin, which one would you choose? They're so different. One is a micro cap, and one is a mid cap. So you should not be making that comparison. What makes you happy in life? I don't know. I gotta say family, yes, but also accomplishing something. Like whatever you set out, you accomplish, whether or not that's financially or with your health or with family, with their job, with whatever. I think accomplishment is what makes most people happy. It makes me happy. So I guess it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Atlanta or Milwaukee? I think it's for sure it's Milwaukee. Milwaukee's go beat Atlanta. Matt, I think it's not a scam, but it's a useless coin. SafeMoon is useless. It has no purpose. So that's why I would advise against it. I like to see Terra's USDT getting bigger. How do you feel about Terra stablecoin? See, Terra stablecoin is meant to be used, in my opinion, it's meant to be used within dApps. So these algorithmic stablecoins, I think, is a bit different than, say, USDC, something that's supposed to be used within a day-to-day transaction, which I guess you could do that with Terra's USD, but I see them just being in different realms. So they're a little bit different. Tim Myers, appreciate it. That says a lot of crypto YouTube TA bearish today, but I look forward to your positive message. I mean, I pretty much have the same stance of Michael Saylor. Even though yesterday I was a little bit critical about his interview with Ben Cohen, which I will have him on the show next week. But still, the message is the same, right? A lot of people try to predict day-to-day movement with their charts, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is most people doing it in the space is showing Bybit links. And that's how people get wrecked, because people look at it and they're like, oh, they must be right. I'm going to try to copy trade them or do what they're saying, and I use leverage and I get wrecked. That's the problem. If it was just people, that's just doing regular TA, they're trying to forecast, and a lot of times they're right, a lot of times they're wrong. It doesn't matter. As long as you're basically buying into the good altcoins or Bitcoin, it will come back and gives you opportunity to dollar cost average and hodl when things are low, right? So that's the thing. Whether I think some of these guys, they want you to utilize leverage, and that's the problem. I think that's the problem. You can't get back from being wrecked. Have you heard of FUD that the bear market starts next year and the catalyst will be the takedown of Binance? That's ridiculous. The bear market could start next year because 2021 is the last year of 4-year cycle. The takedown of Binance, from where? Binance doesn't exist. Their operation is in like Malta or somewhere, right? So there's no takedown of Binance anywhere. I think that's really ridiculous. Yeah, the only thing I don't trust, the only thing I disagree with Michael is on few occasions he did recommend people to, hey, rather than sell, to take a loan against your crypto like Bitcoin and utilize that. That advice is sound, except with a few exceptions. So the ultra rich do this. In case you guys didn't know, the ultra rich, like the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world and Bill Gates of the world and Jeff Bezos of the world, they don't ever sell their stock, because if they do, they have to pay capital gains tax. So what they do is they put their stock as collateral and borrow against it. In fact, if they do that, there's a tax deduction and they don't get taxed on it because it's not counted as selling. So I think Michael Saylor's also giving that advice so that if you're going to be a long-term holder, you borrow against your Bitcoin, you don't ever have to sell it. You're not going to incur any capital gains tax, right? And that, you could still utilize that for other things. And for the most part, that is correct. Except this is usually reserved for the ultra wealthy, because when you do borrow against your collateral, especially with Bitcoin or crypto, there is a chance that you will be margin called, because if something falls down drastically, like what we have seen from Bitcoin down from 64,000 down to where we are now, and Ethereum from 4,000 down to 2,000 and others going down, right? When you go down so dramatically, you will be margin called. And if you can't pay or put more down, then they will start selling off your crypto. So that's the difference. This strategy is really meant for people that are extremely wealthy or wealthy. And this is a really good way to avoid capital gains tax. But for others, I don't think this is a good strategy. I just don't. So I think that's one of the things that I disagree with. But again, Michael Saylor is different. He is a billionaire, right? So some of the things that he probably, some of the things he does is different. He probably does take a loan against some of his Bitcoin, maybe his own personal Bitcoin, not MicroStrategy's Bitcoin, because he does own a ton of Bitcoin himself. I think most people miss that. It's not just from MicroStrategy. What do you think about Sorrell's fund? Yeah, I don't think Sorrell's coming into the space is a good thing. That could be a very, very bad thing from what I hear. Though, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Any thoughts on Bake recovering? It's down about 75%-ish. Yeah. I think BSC projects got hit hard because a lot of them got hacked. But, the entire market is also down. When it comes back up, I think it will. It will recover. Marcus says George is goal oriented. Yes, I am. Shade Tree says I'm still miffed at Saylor giving Cohen the business. What do you mean? Just appearing on his channel or what? And supposedly there was something to it I didn't know. Supposedly the reason why Michael Saylor decided and agreed to go on Cohen's show is because they got in some argument and Ben was like saying something negative about him. I don't know. Ben told me that, so I don't know what was said. But maybe that's why there was a little defensiveness, right off the gate. Who knows? I do know that if he comes on this channel, it'd be different. I'm going to ask some questions that he's never been asked before. What's your price forecast for crypto in general over a 3-day period? You know what? If we're following, okay, let's just put it this way. If we're actually following Wyckoff accumulation, this weekend will be fantastic. Because I just showed you guys this morning, Wyckoff accumulation, there was like 3 downs and 3 recoveries, and that's what we've been seeing. So the next one will actually drive us pretty far, probably above 41,000, if we're following Wyckoff. Now, if we're not, going into this weekend lighter volume, anything could happen. Anything could happen. But I'm thinking that it's going to be upwards. And the reason being, this 30,000 support has been pretty strong. We have hit it many times. We have broken below, but we have recovered and Bitcoin is strong. It shows you that there are a lot of buying, a lot of bulls that refuse to let go of this point. Also, the number of shorts is dropping too. There's a lot of things I've read, like option calls is less aggressive now too. So I'm thinking, this weekend could be good. But again, I'm wrong all the time too, so take that with a grain of salt. But seeing where we are now, we're closer to 30,000 than we are to 40,000. So I'm thinking that we trend up. Topwater, appreciate that. Ardor, I have not heard anything about Ardor. I think they're pretty much dead. They were the very first Generation 3 coin that actually came out in 2017. Yet just no one used them. No one used them. They're created by the same guys that created Next. Chris Crypto loves you too. Okay, I don't know who he is, but it's good to hear. What is it? What's the other guy? Invest Answers. He reached out, so hopefully we could do something too. Yeah, I can't tell that joke again. What do you think about Jig Stack? I don't know what this is. What is this? Pretty small. Yeah, I've seen this before. I don't even, it's like the worst design page ever. Like, it doesn't explain anything. I have no idea what it is. Have I looked at it in a computer? Yes. There were some things that's concerning, but they're very encompassing project. What I do know is they were just too overhyped. Every single exchange listed them simultaneously. They got listed at like number 5 on CMC. It's just they were just way too hyped up. So now they have come back down, but there are still some things. I don't know. For me, it's just I think I would stay. For me, I'm staying away. Zarman asks, if Binance doesn't exist, as you put it, why should people trust them? US is shutting them down is what I'm talking about. They're not. US is not shutting down Binance. Binance doesn't operate in the US. You're getting confused. Binance has another division, Binance.us, which is not being shut down. So again, you're getting confused. All these countries are stopping derivatives. That's what they're trying to shut down. They don't like exchanges offering futures and leverage. So it's not just Binance, like in Ontario and UK. It's everyone that offers futures and derivatives and leverage. Again, don't get it confused. People love to hate Binance. So that's why. People have been hating Binance since 2017. And look at where BNB is now, at number 4. So that kind of tells you something. People love to hate what they don't understand or what they're jealous of. And then they end up being completely wrong. Victor says Lark is George. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything about Lark for a long time. So I don't know how he's doing. Tony, welcome. Eric, I'm not going to repeat that. All right. What happened to Polygon hype? What do you mean what happened? It's still one of the biggest projects out there. It's still at number 16. Do you realize how fast and how much Polygon has risen up within the last 6 months? If you actually look at it, then you wouldn't be asking that question. Polygon is doing just fine. All right, last few questions. What else is there? I like Phantom. I like Phantom a lot. I think they're promising EVM compatible chain. What are your thoughts on Holochain? I think it has potential, but it's not done. It's not done. A lot of people asking about StormX with their 5-year Portland Trailblazers. The problem is Lillard is gone next year, so Trailblazers probably not going to be a very good team. But it's good. It's good. I don't know. To be quite honest, I don't know if these big sponsorship deals really help these projects at all. Like, if you're at the stadium and you see a whole bunch of StormX, banners and logos, does it really make people actually pull it up and download it and try it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. At what point do you recommend taking a crypto out of exchange into a wallet? I'm new at all. I mean, there's really no right or wrong, but the safest thing to do is to keep it in your own hardware wallet, like a ledger, okay? On these big exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, Binance, KuCoin, they've been around for so long. They're trustworthy. Some of them have been hacked before, but they have plenty of insurance, and they're really good at tracking down stolen funds. So stick with the big players. If you have 2FA turned on, that's the most critical thing, and you're utilizing a big exchange, it's going to be okay. Let's just say okay. However, the safest thing is to put it off and put it into a hardware wallet, or like a non-custodial wallet on your phone, like the Trust wallet or Coinbase wallet. What do you think about Binance USD? I mean, it works well with Binance, but I don't know too much. I haven't researched into them, so can't say if it's like back 1-to-1 like USDC. I'm assuming it is, but you know what? Maybe. What is Jordan coming on your stream? You guys should do a weekly, so maybe, but you know, Jordan really just like threw me out. Like, he did not like the idea. I invited him and he just said no. So I don't know, I was a little offended by that. Steve, thank you. I'm just kidding about Jordan. But he did turn me off. But yeah, I'd love to go on his show or have him on eventually. You are the best out of all the live streams. Always learning so much from you. Truly appreciate what you do. Cass, I appreciate that. I mean, that's what I try to do. I try to be real, try to present my case, try to look at the bigger picture. Too many people are focused on short term and they're worried about a lot of stuff. But in the end, you know, you have to decide, okay, so if that's how you truly feel, then why are you still here? Or should you be here, right? Ultimately, I believe that the future is very bright. Very, very bright for Bitcoin, for a lot of cryptos, especially DeFi, NFTs, right? You guys know my story. I got feared out a couple times before, made big mistakes, not doing that again, right? And if you look at the bigger picture of who's entering this space, the adoption, usage, the macro factors, the on-chain metrics, I mean, everything is pointing upwards, right? So that's why I'm in it, and that's why I'm trying to help you guys stay in the game too. All right, guys, that is it. Any thoughts on Reef? I'm not too familiar with Reef. They were too hyped up before, so I actually don't know what happened, since then. All right, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna give you guys. Oh, by the way, my giveaway, right? I have two giveaways. One is based on a project, right? And I've been showing this video many times. Some of you guys got it, some of you guys haven't. Another one is based on numbers that I'm going to give out every single month. Now, I only do it once. I gave it out the first number in June, and so hopefully some of you guys wrote that. Pretty soon, I'm going to give out another one for July, right? And it's a big thing. If you get all 6 by the end of the year, you're going to get 200 entries into the giveaway, and that's a big deal. So make sure you guys pay attention to it. But in the meantime, let me show you and give you one more clue about that project. So the answer is 3 characters long, and you'll find that answer in this very, very educational video about XRP and Ripple. It just blows your mind how much you learn from this video. And it also gives you a clue into this project. So have a good one, guys, and take a look.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.